Good afternoon and welcome to Tucson, Arizona, Keno North Stadium, where it is day number 2 of the Desert Diamond Cup, and game number 2 on this day features Sporting Kansas City taking on the New York Red Bulls. I'm Nate Bucati along with Matt Lawrence. Jillian Carroll is on the sideline for us on what has turned out to be a chilly, rainy day in Tucson, Arizona, which you don't say very often, Matt, but a matchup of two teams in this preseason who will look very different today. Sporting Kansas City will show what they plan to have as their first choice side during the regular season against a lot of young guys from the New York Red Bulls.
Yeah, it's a complete and utter contrast between these two sides. We spoke with Peter Vermees a little earlier in the week, and he said it's all about his team. It's all about the starting 11. The opposition is almost irrelevant. He doesn't care that New York Red Bulls, obviously they've sent their first team squad back to New York in preparation for that Champions League game against Vancouver Whitecaps. This is all about what his starting 11 can do. I envisage, and I think he envisages, that this will probably be the side that takes the field against DC United in Washington on March the 4th in the opening game of the season. I'm very interested to see how the New York Red Bulls match up against them. They've got a couple of trialists out there. They've got a lot of young kids, academy players as well. But don't forget, a lot of these players are the players that beat Swope Park Rangers.
We'll stand aside now for the national anthem. And we are just about set for kickoff in this Desert Diamond Cup matchup between Sporting Kansas City and the New York Red Bulls. Let's go down now to the sidelines. Who standing out in the wind and the rain today is Jillian Carroll. Jillian, tell us about the conditions on the field here today.
That's right, guys. It is rather windy, very wet. Here at the moment, we don't have any raindrops falling, so we're grateful. And speaking with Coach Kerry Zavagdan for today, he said, the slick field will really be a benefit for us today. Wednesday versus Colorado Rapids, it was so dry. We saw guys falling. We saw balls taking weird bounces. So he's happy with the wet grass. He did indicate he wished the wind would drop down a little bit. Other than that, Sporting Kansas City is looking for a fresh 45 minutes out of their starting 11 and possibly moving into second half with those starting 11 as well.
Thank you, Jillian. And we talked about the wind, Matt. It was a big factor in the game on Wednesday against the Rapids. And if anything, the wind seems to have picked up even more compared to that week. And that really was an impact on the game.
Yeah, it certainly played a massive part. It's the one thing, we spoke about it slightly off air, Nate. It's the one thing that can spoil a game of football. It's the wind. Players can put up with the cold, put up with snow, they can put up with the rain, but the wind really does have a massive effect on the game. Certainly, specifically, I remember in that game against Colorado earlier in the week, we had one pass from Graham Zusi that just got caught up in the wind and went a good 20 yards backwards. It is tough, but it does help the players keep the ball on the floor. And we know certainly from watching training this week and from listening to Coach Peter Vermees that that's what he's desperate for. He's desperate for the ball on the ground. And when you look at the Red Bulls centre halves today, one at 6'6", Tim Schmoll, and Hassam Endom, 18-year-old at 6'4", up against Dom Dwyer, who we know is sort of a 5'7", 5'8" kind of guy. We have to keep the ball on the floor. Sporting KC have to keep the ball on the floor and up just maybe into his chest or into his feet.
Okay, you're seeing the starting 11 for the Red Bulls here. This is all a second choice side. You're going to see a lot of players from Red Bulls 2, some players from the Red Bulls Academy, and some trialists as well, as the entire first team played all 90 minutes in their game against New York City FC on Wednesday before heading back because they're getting ready for Champions League play against the Whitecaps on Wednesday. Meanwhile, for Sporting Kansas City, this is the same side that started and played the first half against the Colorado Rapids with Dom Dwyer up top and Tim Melia in goal. Kerry Zavagnin is managing today because Peter Vermees wants to take a bird's eye view look. He's sitting up top evaluating the team today, but also Kerry Zavagnin's being evaluated by U.S. Soccer right now. His instructor is here as he's going for his pro license, so this is a chance for Kerry Zavagnin to show a little bit of what he can do as a head coach. And we are underway here at Keno North Sports Complex in cloudy, cool, windy, rainy Tucson, Arizona today. Sporting Kansas City going from left to right, wearing their sporting blue tops and indigo blue shorts, and the New York Red Bulls wearing the navy blue tops with the yellow sleeves and yellow shorts. Sporting with the emphasis of trying to play out of the back, and they face some early pressure from the Red Bulls.
Exactly, straight away. They went from taking the centre, Dom Dwyer passed it back, the ball went all the way back to Tim Melia, and then there's a number of passes took place between Ika Para and Matt Beasler at centre half. The ball then went back to Tim Melia. He tried to launch a rather long diagonal ball out to Graham Zusi, but once again, as we've spoken about, the wind caught hold of it and it went out of play. Now we see just below us, Graham Zusi has a set piece to take deep into his own half.
And that was after a foul was whistled against Brandon Allen. Now, diehard Sporting Kansas City fans will recognize that name because it was Red Bulls 2 knocking off Swope Park Rangers 5-1 in the USL Cup final in New York last year, and Brandon Allen was the MVP of that game, scoring a hat trick against the Sporting Kansas City Development Club.
Yeah, and I rewatched those highlights this morning, Nate, and he really is an expert finisher, Brandon Allen. Not so sure about his all-around game, but anybody who can notch a hat-trick in a game obviously has a little bit about them in front of goal. Certainly Ika Para and Matt Beasler will need to keep a thorough watch on him throughout this game.
A handful of the players in this starting 11 for the Red Bulls are players who feature for Red Bulls 2 and who played in that Cup final against Swope Park Rangers. Here's Graham Zusi playing it right back once again, going into a sliding challenge. And now Gerso Fernandez is in possession, but it is an offside ruling against the Red Bulls, as Soren Stoica is the man in the middle.
Yeah, once again, we've seen this back four working tirelessly throughout the week in training. They kept a very good line there. And I think it was Vincent Bezcourt, number 11 for New York Red Bulls, who just strayed offside.
This time David Najem was fouled by Seth Sinovic. So for the second straight game, we see Graham Zusi playing at the right back position. Had a chance to chat with him a little bit while we've been down here in Tucson about that role. He is said, as you would expect Graham Zusi to say, wherever the coach wants me to play and whatever's best for the team is where I want to be.
Not only that, Nate, but I think he enjoys that role. I really do. Certainly the style of play that Sporting KC are going to implement under head coach Peter Vermees, and even more so, I think that this season, playing out from the back, Graham Zusi is going to see an awful lot of the ball, and with Gerso Fernandez in front of him, a left-footed player who's automatically going to cut inside, leaves acres of space for Graham Zusi to bomb up and down that right-hand side. For me, I think right now, Nate, I just think the tempo's not quite high enough. I think Peter Vermees would want the tempo to be slightly higher than this. It really has got a pre-season feel to it at the moment. I think he'll want more out of the players. I think he'll want more out of the midfield at the moment, more showing for the ball.
Here's Latif Blessing, the young Ghanaian. Now Zusi. Gerso, clever touch, looking for Failhaber, and there might have been two fouls committed.
There certainly
in
was.
A short period of time by Bezcourt.
Yes, 18-year-old left back Kevin O'Toole there, number 27 for the Red Bulls, who initially fouled Gerso Fernandez, and then there was a late challenge also on Graham Zusi. Referee could have chosen either one. He picked the first.
Michael Parra looking for somewhere to go with it. You mentioned more players showing for the ball. He didn't seem to have any options that time. Let's take another look at the double foul we just saw.
Yeah, both of them certain fouls. One on Gerso Fernandez. Kevin O'Toole's quite lucky to get away with it. He put an elbow in Fernandez's face. I don't think it was highly intentional, but it was just very, very clumsy. And then the second one on Graham Zusi was another foul.
Well, when you're seeing players who are in their teens and early 20s playing for the U18s for the Red Bulls and playing for Red Bulls too, and they're out there working against a first team side for Sporting Kansas City, they might be a little amped up coming into a match like this.
Well, I hope they are really. Now, I hope they are really riled up and want to put themselves about, show that they can have some kind of effect on the game playing against, obviously, a first team for Sporting KC. That would be my worry if I was the head coach of Sporting KC at the moment, is that players get a little over-exuberant from New York Red Bulls' point of view. You certainly wouldn't want to pick up any injuries at this stage of pre-season. But yeah, if you're a young kid, if you're 18, 19 years old, you want to have a real effect and have a real influence on the game. If that means putting your foot in occasionally, then so be it.
Beasler switching play over to the near side as Gerso Fernandez gives it away. It's taken by Basulovic, the Red Bulls. His pass intercepted by Aiko Parra. Left-hand side, some room for Latif Blessing to run. Taking it at Ndam. Now it's Gerso Fernandez. And out to Graham Zusi. Clipping it toward the back post. Blessing was trying to run onto it. It was ushered out by Ethan Cutler of the Red Bulls, and Sporting Kansas City will have a corner, but better play from Sporting Kansas City this time.
It certainly was much better, and it's a delightful clipped cross from Graham Zusi to the back post. Latif Blessing does that very well. He always follows in on the back post, but it's good, clever defending from Ethan Cutler. Kept a good eye on the ball and headed it behind for the first corner of the game to Sporting KC.
First corner comes in the 7th minute. It'll be Benny Feilhaber. Feilhaber sends it in. Boy, it found Roger Espinoza, but he wasn't able to get a clean redirection.
It's another good corner from Benny Feilhaber. We saw a number of those against Colorado on Wednesday. This time he found Roger Espinoza completely unmarked on the back post. I don't think Espinoza thought he was going to make its way all the way through to the back post, just took his eye off the ball, hit his shin pad, deflected behind for a goal kick to New York Red Bulls.
Aiko Parra wins the header. Dom Dwyer going up against quite a big opposition here in that back line. You mentioned the size of both Ndam and Tim Schmoll, and that time Schmoll, even at just 23 years old, though, was able to muscle Dom away.
Yeah, there's certainly a disparity in height there between Dom Dwyer and Tim Schmoll. I think Dom's going to really fancy getting the ball at his feet, getting faced up and taking on Tim Schmoll one-on-one. I'd fancy in terms of pace that Dom Dwyer would fancy that he can go past Tim Schmoll.
Vasulovic. Sporting Kansas City looking to try to spring on the counter, and there are Red Bulls buzzing all over the midfield so far today. Here's some space for Seth Sinovic down the left-hand side. Now Blessing. Well, he didn't realize that Florian Valo was sneaking in behind to poke it away, but Blessing staying with the play, and now a foul is called against Sporting Kansas City.
Yeah, it's just a lack of communication from Sporting KC's point of view. Latif Blessing had no idea that Florian Valo was right behind him. He just needed a shout, a man-on shout from one of his teammates. He didn't get it. It was a simple takeaway from Florian Valo. You said it, Nate. New York Red Bulls, they're buzzing about. They're up for it, as they should be. You know, academy players, trialists, Red Bulls second-team players. They really want to show what they've got up against a first-string Sporting KC side.
Sporting Kansas City played to a 1-1 draw on Wednesday against the Colorado Rapids, where we saw our first usage of the VAR system, the replay system that awarded a penalty after replay to the Rapids, which led to their only goal to make it 1-1. Red Bulls got a 2-0 victory over NYCFC, but this is an entirely different team here today than the one that played on Wednesday. That team left back for New York because, as we've mentioned a couple of times, they will take on the Vancouver Whitecaps in CONCACAF Champions League play on Wednesday. And in a much better crowd here today. The folks have to be bundled up a little bit, but pretty nice showing of fan support for both sides here in Tucson, Arizona today. There's a giveaway by Latif Blessing, but comes all the way back to Tim Melia. Here's Ilya Sanchez. His teammates are really glowing about what he has brought to the table in that number 6 role so far for Sporting Kansas City.
Yeah, he's got that number 6 on his back as well. It's just a role that is so comfortable for him. That's where he played for Barcelona B team for a number of seasons.
Sinovic puts it in along the 18. It's knocked away by Schmoll. It falls on the near side to Gerso Fernandez. Back to Ilya. Espinoza switching it over to Seth Sinovic.
Sporting KC have done that very well a couple of times in this opening 11 minutes of the game. Switched the ball from one fullback to the other, normally going through Ilya Sanchez in the middle of the park. Certainly Peter Vermees will be very, very happy with those types of combinations.
It's a miscommunication between Sinovic and Blessing, and it's taken away by the Red Bulls. But Aiko Para stepping up to win it back for Sporting Kansas City.
I know both centre-halves for Sporting KC had injuries last season, but I'm really liking the look of this centre-half pairing of Aiko Para and Matt Beasler. They look very comfortable alongside each other, both communicate very well.
Beasler trying to chip it ahead for Blessing. It puts Ndam under some pressure. He's able to use that tall frame to head it out for a Sporting Kansas City throw-in. Let's check in with Jillian once again on the sideline.
Thanks, Nate. We were talking about the weather and the climate here down in Tucson, and speaking with our kit man, Michael Flaherty, in his preparation for coming down to training camp every year. They spend about 2 weeks filling up a storage pod of all training kits, both winter season, summer season, everything they think they might encounter down here. And he said we just make sure we bring extra of absolutely everything. So that's upwards of 75 soccer balls, couple training kits per player, and lots of jackets for Coach Peter Vermees, as he tends to be very cold, is what kit man Michael Flaherty said.
And maybe a jacket for the sideline reporter too.
And right now my hat is keeping me dry, and my nice parka is very warm and very grateful.
Latif Blessing gets on the end of this cross, doesn't quite catch it cleanly, and it's into the arms of Rafael Diaz for the save. First shot attempt on goal of this match.
Yeah, and I spoke about it earlier. He does it very well, Latif Blessing. Crashes that back post as Fernandez lofted the ball to the back stick. Latif Blessing just got in behind Ethan Cutler at left back for Red Bulls. Got his shot on target. Not a great deal of power in it. Certainly classifies the first shot on goal.
Roger Espinoza, active as always in the midfield to take it away. Now Benny Feilhaber, shot goes right off, or pass attempt that is, goes right off the backside of Bezcourt for the Red Bulls, but here's Seth Sinovic taking it back. Now a chance for Sporting Kansas City to get forward once again. It's Gerso.
Certainly at the moment, 14 minutes into the game, Nate. Sporting KC very, very dominant in possession. Anytime Red Bulls do get a hold of the ball, they're struggling to string passes together.
Good work from Jerso to get it down the left-hand side to Seth Sinovic with some space to turn toward the penalty area. And the cross coming in, it finds Zusi, but he sprays the shot wide and over the target.
It's a great overlapping run from Seth Sinovic on that left-hand side, puts in a good cross to the back post. I think Graham Zusi has a lot more time than he realised. He's gone to hit the ball on the half volley. Very difficult skill with the ball coming across his body. He had time there to take a touch and find the back of the net. Let's take another look at that. As I say, good overlapping run from Seth Sinovic. Decent cross to the back post, but look how much time and space Graham Zusi has there. Should have taken a touch.
Something I noticed, Matt, on that replay was that it was Jerso Fernandez with the great turn toward the middle of the field to send that ball down the left-hand side for Sinovic, and he came flying all the way up the field making that secondary run and was just maybe a foot or two away from having a chance at a header for the goal there.
Yeah, he certainly was. He wants to get into the box, doesn't he? He anticipates those crosses coming in. And that's what it's going to take this season for Sporting KC to have a good season. It is going to be Jerso Fernandez and Latif Blessing chipping in with goals, not just assists as they're the wide men putting in crosses, but because naturally they're playing on the opposite side to their favoured foot, they are automatically going to find themselves in the middle of the pitch.
Dom Dwyer sneaking behind the defence, tries to get it past the keeper this time from a difficult angle. No trouble in the end for Diaz.
Yeah, I think Dom had definitely spotted the goalkeeper. Lowell Diaz off his line. They tried to chip it over him. Didn't quite work out for him. Just put it into the welcoming arms of the goalkeeper, Diaz.
Sanchez. Taken back by Basulovic of the Red Bulls. Schmoll. Aiko Para under some pressure, plays it back to Tim Melia. Valo. Boy tried to slide it through that time for Lewis, but the offside flag was up.
I think that one would have been a very tight call. I thought Zico Lewis had maybe timed his run perfectly. The assistant referee on the far side didn't think so. Was awarded the free kick to Sporting KC. I have mentioned it a couple of times previously. You knew at Red Bulls are really struggling to keep the ball. I'm a bit worried that Sporting KC may be lulled into a bit of a false sense of security. They're having so much possession of the ball. They can't afford to lose concentration at the back and get hit on the counter-attack.
Sesanovic tried to play it in quickly, but another ball had made its way out onto the field. Here's Blessing. Back for Sinovic. Now back to Roger Espinoza. Puts this one in toward the 18. Dom Dwyer got ahead to it. He's going to be called for the foul.
I'm not overly sure that that was a foul. It's just more heart and desire from Dom Dwyer. Tim Schmoll got in front of him, but Dom Dwyer just fought him off and won the header. Referee deemed it a free kick. I'm not so sure. Dom Dwyer certainly not perturbed by the fact that Tim Schmoll was a good 6 or 7 inches taller than him. Leapt very well.
Dom has certainly, in his 5 years with Sporting Kansas City, grown accustomed to going up against center backs who are much taller than he is, and he's never seemed to back down yet.
Oh, he's certainly not going to do that. I would hate to be marking Dom Dwyer, that's for sure. He's a bit like a rash. He really is. Not only is he a fantastic goal scorer, but he gets all over you. He's not going to give you a minute's rest, not a minute's peace. And I like that about him. Not only is he a quality, clinical finisher, he's a real hard worker as well.
Latif Blessing was trying to make his way past Hassan Endam this time, and he was knocked to the ground, but the referee had no sympathy for Blessing. This time, though, Aiko Para will be called for the foul.
I think it's very accidental, but it looks as though Aiko Para has stood over the back of Brandon Allen's leg. Maybe he's just raked his studs down his Achilles tendon. It's certainly a painful one, but I don't think there was any malice from Iko Power in that. The referee's just having a word with him in the centre of the park. Iko Power's offering his apologies to Brandon Allen.
We talked about the fantastic game that Brandon Allen had against Swope Park Rangers in the USL Cup Finals. We take another look. Looked like he just didn't see much contact in the lower half there. Brandon Allen didn't just score in that game. He's the all-time scoring leader in Georgetown University history.
Yeah, and that doesn't surprise me. Any Sporting KC fan who watched that final last season knows that Brandon Allen's a real clinical finisher. And that's at the professional level, let alone at the collegiate level when he was playing for Georgetown.
Ball skipped on Iko Para a bit there and leads to a Red Bulls throw in. Bezcourt working his way past a couple of defenders. The 1-2 back for Lewis. It took a deflection off of Beasler. Nervy moments for Sporting Kansas City, but it's Blessing who comes away with it. He was trying to find Roger Espinoza, but Schmoll was able to come over and clean it up for the Red Bulls.
Yeah, counter-attack was on there. There's a little bit of a loose pass from Latif Blessing trying to find Espinoza, just overhit it by a good few yards. And it was good covering defending in the end from Tim Schmoll, the 6'6" centre-half for New York Red Bulls.
'22nd minute, 0-0 to score. This ball intended for Kevin O'Toole. A little too strong, and Sporting Kansas City will have a throw in deep in their own territory.
I think Peter Vermees will be relatively happy with this opening 22 minutes here. But I think he'll want to see a little more from his wide players. I think he'll also want to see Benny Feilhaber getting on the ball a little more. Seeing Benny link up with Dom Dwyer. Dom Dwyer's found it hard to get into the game. Not through any fault of his own, really. Just the service up to him hasn't been great as of yet.
Here's Blessing. He gets chopped to the ground, and we saw a lot of that on Wednesday, didn't we?
Yeah, we certainly did. Latif Blessing, yes, he's small in stature, but he's so quick, so nimble, and he is used to taking a physical punishment. But the one thing we do know from Latif Blessing is he normally jumps straight back up again, just as we watch it here on the replay. It's a poor challenge on him.
There's Aaron Basulovic, another Georgetown product from the Red Bulls Academy. But it will be interesting to see the way Blessing holds up through the course of a physical MLS season. He is so small in stature, no one on the team seems to question his toughness whatsoever in speaking to the technical staff and some of his teammates, but it seems to be evident already that the approach from other teams, he's so quick and so difficult to stay in front of that a lot of teams are just choosing to take him down if he has the ball in the midfield area.
Exactly, and it's certainly a lot easier to get tight to him and give him a bit of physical punishment, so to speak, rather than let him get turned, face you up and then run at you as a fullback. You want to get as tight as possible to somebody like Latif Blessing and really get your foot in early on.
Ilie Sanchez gets it to Sinovic. Feilhaber gives it away, and here come the Red Bulls with an opportunity here. Lewis plays it for Velo, and his cross in deflects out. And it will be a corner kick for the Red Bulls.
Yeah, I think it was Benny Feilhaber who gave the ball away on about the halfway line. It was a counter-attack from New York Red Bulls. At one point they were 4-on-3. Benny Feilhaber did very well, made up for his mistake, got back into position, just deflected the ball behind for a corner kick. Just as we see there, Benny getting back into position, does very well, slides on his backside, just deflects it behind.
Bezcourt's corner kick out for another corner off the head of Dom Dwyer.
Obviously at this point with corner kicks, you've got to keep your eye on Tim Schmoll at 6'6", we've mentioned time and time again. Much taller than anybody out there on the Sporting KC side. Obviously Iko Power has gone up mono a mono with Tim Schmoll. Let's see how well Tim Schmoll attacks the ball from these attacking set pieces.
Latif Blessing is being waved back onto the field. That's what the holdup is for here. He wasn't sure if he was allowed to re-enter the match. He's in there now. And Sporting Kansas City might have an opportunity to get some numbers forward here. It's Zusi down the right-hand side. He's looking for Dwyer. Flag stays down. It's Dom. Onto his left foot. Dwyer, and it's kick saved away by Rafael Diaz.
It's a wonderful counter-attack from Sporting KC. A real waste from New York Red Bulls. That all came from their misplaced corner kick. It's a wonderful ball across the field. Diagonal ball into Dom Dwyer's feet from Graham Zusi. More by luck than judgment. I think that left foot has just seen the ball go over the crossbar from Lowell Diaz.
So now in the 26th minute, as it comes to a close, Sporting Kansas City will have their second corner. Feilhaber. Punched away by Diaz to Sinovic. Didn't quite catch that one. Right back in by Beasler and into the arms of Diaz, the keeper, once again.
Yeah, it looked as though it's falling nicely for Seth Sinovic on the edge of the box. The bounce just caught him unawares though. Sliced it off the side of his shin pad, and Matt Beasler couldn't pounce on that poor shot from Seth.
I'd like to welcome those of you watching online or through the Fox Sports Go app on your mobile device. Sporting Kansas City and the Red Bulls scoreless so far in the first half. Here comes Blessing down the left-hand side again. Got tangled up with Hassan Endam, and it's taken back by the Red Bulls, at least for now. Now Espinoza for Sporting Kansas City. Headed away by Tim Schmoll. And the throw-in, though, for Sporting Kansas City as they keep on the pressure. Ilya Sanchez looking for Gerso on the near side. Misread it quite a bit, or just a bit, I should say, and it's out for a Red Bulls throw.
That's what it's all about, though, Ilya Sanchez. Getting on the ball in the middle of the pitch, looking for those diagonal balls, whether it's beat Latif Blessing or Gerso Fernandez, it was in that case. Ball just skipped off this wet surface, went out for New York Red Bulls throw-in. But this is better from Sporting KC. You used the term, Nate, applying the pressure, and they're certainly doing that. They've had a couple of chances in the last 5 minutes, Sporting KC. Haven't been able to take advantage of those chances as of yet. We do feel a goal is coming. You can hear the New York Red Bulls bench just below us. The coaches down there shouting, step up, step up. They want that back four to get up to the halfway line. And the midfield then to be pushed on, and then the centre forwards putting pressure on this Sporting KC back line.
And here's a giveaway in the midfield for Sporting Kansas City. This can be good experience, what you're looking for if you're Sporting Kansas City down here in Tucson, Arizona. Whether it's a first choice team for the Red Bulls or not, the style of pressing is really forcing Sporting Kansas City to work on that aspect of playing out of the back under pressure, which Peter Vermees has wanted to focus on here in Tucson.
Yeah, very much so. We spoke with Peter early in the week, and he spoke specifically about when Sporting KC are playing at home and that teams come and sit, park 2 banks of 4 behind the ball, and that's exactly what New York Red Bulls are doing. They've got 2 solid banks of 4. They are getting behind the ball. They're letting Sporting KC have the ball, but it's just whether Sporting KC can break them down or not.
Dom Dwyer with a foot race here. He's able to get there in front of Diaz. He's taken to the ground, and the referee has pointed to the spot.
Yeah, and I think that's the correct decision from the referee. No need for Lowell Diaz to make that challenge on Dom Dwyer. He's not going anywhere there. It's a real rash challenge, as we can see. Lowell Diaz trying to claim that he played the ball. He certainly didn't. If he got anything of the ball, he certainly took Dom Dwyer out first.
Was Diaz a little slow coming off his line there? I was surprised that Dwyer had as much space getting into the area as he did.
I agree. Initially he was slow off his line, and then it was rash at the end.
Yes.
Once he realises that he's not going to make it, then you just hold Dom up.
Well, it will be Dwyer to take the penalty here in the 31st minute. With the left foot, it's Dwyer. It doinks off the post and then into the back of the net, and Dom Dwyer has put Sporting Kansas City ahead 1-0 in the 31st minute.
You don't get a better penalty kick than that. It's a wonderful penalty from Dom Dwyer. Hit with pace as well with that trusty left foot of his. Ricochets off the post and into the back of the net. Nothing Lowell Diaz can do about it.
Let's check in on the sideline with Jillian Carroll once again.
Thanks, guys. Wanted to give you an update on Latif's blessing. He did cut his lip and had blood trip down to his jersey. So Sporting Kansas City's athletic training staff brought him a new, fresh jersey. He did step off the pitch for a moment and was welcomed back on with the next dead ball.
Thank you, Jillian. And that tells you a little something about how physical the foul was that kept Blessing down. You talked about the fact that he has not been known since he's been with Sporting Kansas City as one to make the most out of a foul or an injury, and now we understand why it took a while for him to re-enter the game.
No, he normally jumps straight back up. Latif's used to it as well. He's used to the rough and tumble of the Ghanaian Premier League. It's good to see as well from a modern day footballer that they don't roll around on the floor making the most of things, and Latif certainly doesn't do that.
One of the things that Peter Vermees told us was that in the modern day of soccer, most players are accustomed to when they hit the ground, a trainer is off the bench and out there to tend to them immediately and give them some attention. He said, when you're growing up and playing in the Ghanaian Premier League, there's no trainer on the bench to feel sorry for you or to help you out, so there's no reason to stay on the ground. And maybe that's part of the reason that when Latif takes a knockout here, he's pretty quick to get back up to his feet.
I think that's very true. It really is. Wouldn't get pampered, wouldn't get pandered to in that Ghanaian Premier League. Used to the rough and tumble of it, used to fullbacks and centre halves going through him, giving him some real physical beating, so to speak.
Ilie Sanchez was able to intercept that pass momentarily, but taken right back by David Najem. Now Beasler trying to shield it out. Instead, he's going to keep it in. Walking the tightrope, taken away by Velo. Ilie Sanchez, though, with the cover. So Sporting Kansas City taking the 1-0 lead on the 31st minute penalty that was won by Dom Dwyer and then taken by Dom Dwyer, which he put right off the post. Now a misplay by Diaz, and here comes Dwyer again on the right-hand side. Onto his left foot. I think he was looking for Gerso Fernandez to make a run there.
Yeah, he certainly was. It was just a misplaced cross by Dom Dwyer. He's indicating that he thought Gerso would make that darting run into the 6-yard box. Gerso maybe hadn't read it, but even still, I think the cross was slightly too close to Lowell Diaz.
Now Feilhaber after the takeaway by Blessing. He finds Dwyer. Now Blessing. Sends it out for Zusi on the right-hand side. Back to Blessing. Just dancing circles around some of the Red Bulls defenders. Just knocked out for a throw-in before Blessing could get back onto the end of it. But boy, taking the ball away and then showing skill on the ball, Latif Blessing is showing Sporting Kansas City some things here this half.
Yeah, and he's got such a low center of gravity, hasn't he? Turns so quickly. Really hard for the New York Red Bulls defenders to keep up with him.
And by Zusi, Gerso Fernandez had lost his footing. He might have been in perfect position on the 6 to knock that one in.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate there. I think it may have been Latif Blessing,
right.
actually. He just lost his footing at the wrong moment. Slipped over on the edge of the 6-yard box. It's good to see Graham Zusi getting up the pitch as well. Certainly something we saw a lot of on Wednesday against Colorado. We haven't seen so much of it today. He has finally had the opportunity to get up the pitch, and he does link very, very well with Gerso Fernandez or Latif Blessing, whichever one comes out and plays on this right-hand side.
Beasler sends it into the corner where Roger Espinoza chases it down. He's trying to get it in for Seth Sinovic, but it's taken away by the Red Bulls. This is Lewis on the right-hand side for Velo. Florian Velo. Now on the return pass from Lewis, it's out for a Sporting Kansas City throw-in. We saw a couple of moments, Matt, where Sporting Kansas City have just missed maybe that final ball, whether it be Gerso Fernandez or Latif Blessing, but is that not part of that chemistry that these players are trying to establish as new players with some of these veterans for Sporting Kansas City playing together for the first time?
No, I agree. You're trying to gel as a team. It's also what pre-season's all about. That's when those mistakes, when those mistimed play passes, it's not quite fine, but it's much more acceptable for them to happen in pre-season. I do agree, though. You've got three new players, Ilie Sanchez, Gerso Fernandez and Latif Blessing, all trying to gel.
Ilie Sanchez with the dispossession. He tried to slide Latif Blessing through, and the flag comes up just offside.
And almost on point there. Ilie Sanchez, new player, trying to roll the ball through to Latif Blessing. Blessing had just strayed half a yard offside. But let's not forget, Sporting KC, we've got another nearly hour of this game still to go. There's another 2 pre-season friendlies next week as well. They'll be fully at the races by the time that first game of the season away at DC United takes place. I think they're already showing great signs of gelling as well. Gerso Fernandez on this right-hand side, Latif on the left-hand side, and Ilie Sanchez specifically, I feel, in the middle of the park, have really integrated themselves very well into this Sporting KC team.
This one off of Blessing and out for a Red Bulls throw-in. Ilie Sanchez so calm on the ball, even under pressure. And he gets it forward to Blessing. And now out wide to Graham Zusi. And here comes Sporting Kansas City once again. Now Gerso back for Zusi. Zusi trying to turn. It's still Zusi. He couldn't get his left foot around that shot, and it banged off of the tummy of Ethan Cutler. And now foul on Matt Beasler to break up the counterattack from the Red Bulls, and Beasler is going to go in the book here in the 38th minute.
Yeah, just a slight over-exuberance from Matt Beasler there. No need for it on the halfway line either. If it had just held up Zico Lewis wasn't really going anywhere. Tried to get ahead of Zico Lewis and win the ball. In doing so, went through the back of Zico Lewis, committed the foul. The referee deemed that a yellow card. It certainly would be during the season. We don't like to see it during pre-season. But I think pretty much the correct decision from the referee.
Boy, after all of the work that Ilie Sanchez did to set that rush in motion for Sporting down the right-hand side, those are the types of opportunities where they will feel they should come away with a goal.
Yeah, because it was a wonderful, once again, wonderful counter-attack. Graham Zusi found himself cut inside onto his left foot in that 18-yard box. Shot wasn't particularly good, but you're right, Nate. It was a wonderful break, and they have to take full advantage of those kind of chances. Might not matter quite so much today, playing against the second-string New York Red Bulls side. But that first game of the season is only a couple of weeks away. You want to take full opportunity of those chances that you get.
This ball gets poked through for Bezcourt. Into the area, Tim Melia came flying out to the 6 and is able to cover it. Meanwhile, Iko Para has gone down. He's a little slow to get back up, but He's going to make a point of not being too slow to get back up, lest he get a text message from his father asking if his knee is okay.
He certainly looked okay there, Iko Power. Yeah, he did. Suffered a strong challenge, didn't he, from Colorado Rapids centre forward in that game earlier in the week.
He was on the ground for a little while. He did not even come out of the game, he was quick to point out, but he said he received more than one text message from family members asking to make sure that he was okay. He didn't feel like a big deal should have been made of anything. Now Dom Dwyer is going to be booked for some extracurricular activity as he got himself tangled up with Hassan Endom.
Yeah, just a little bit of petulance from Dom Dwyer there. I think he thought that he was fouled initially by Endom. The referee didn't call it, and so as Endom went away with the ball, Dom Dwyer just went through the back of him. Has to be careful. You certainly don't want to get sent off in a pre-season friendly. I don't mind that though. He's got that little bit of a nasty streak about him, Dom Dwyer.
Well, we anticipate that most of the starting 11 for Sporting Kansas City will try to make it to about a full hour here today, to 60 minutes. Dom Dwyer might be the one exception. He only played 30 minutes in the game on Wednesday. That's because that was his first action since coming back from ankle surgery in the offseason. So we'll see if he gets any more than the first 45 minutes today.
I'll be it's not so much a risk, but I'd be surprised if he played any longer. 45 minutes would be about right. No point in risking him. And above all else, he's got his name on the score sheet. I know it's only pre-season, but as a centre forward, we know how desperate they are to score goals. He's got his name in lights, so to speak, today. Yes, it was only a penalty, but that's his first of the season. I'm not saying that he'll be happy to come off, but I think it would be a wise decision if he did. Of course, that'll be down to the medical staff and Peter Vermees, and I'm sure Dom Dwyer himself will have some kind of input in that at half-time.
Zusi's attempted pass banged right off of Florian Velo there, and it's taken back by the Red Bulls. O'Toole dancing around Zusi, but then giving it away. He goes to ground, grabbing his face, does Kevin O'Toole, and because it's a potential head injury, head referee Soren Stoica will stop play as he is instructed to do by the rules of the game. He's going to bring out the training staff now. We are in the 42nd minute. Kevin O'Toole, another one of those academy players. We've mentioned that there's a number of academy players for the Red Bulls who have established one of the better academy teams, or programs, I should say, in MLS. And O'Toole, part of the Red Bulls U18 team. He did get 12 games in with Red Bulls 2 in USL last year, including 3 of the 4 playoff games that the team played. And that's exactly the way that these MLS sides are now trying to construct things is players come through the academy, the U16s, the U18s, and then that next step is the USL play. You're playing at a professional level, and that makes you that much closer to playing in MLS.
Yeah, and sometimes if you can bypass the collegiate system, that benefits you as a player as well. He certainly looks at, a good physical specimen, Kevin O'Toole, as well, and at 18 years old, he's got to be happy that right now he's playing on the same side as a seasoned international player that he's got in Graham Zusi at right back, and Gerso Fernandez obviously in front of him. It's got to help with your footballing education, your soccer education. And as I say, it's not that I don't want people to get educated, but if that collegiate system can be bypassed as well, it certainly has to help you out in terms of professional play.
Handball is called against Latif Blessing, but you are a product of the university system here in the United States, and then turned that into a 20-year career in England.
I wasn't as good as Kevin O'Toole at 18 years of age. Yeah, I was. I was lucky. I certainly progressed a great deal in the collegiate system here in the US, and lucky enough to go back home and play for a number of years. But yeah, right now, if I was Kevin O'Toole, I'd be wanting to stay around the professional ranks, I think.
And with the amateur contracts that some players are able to sign, it actually allows some players to do both the university program and play some matches for their USL side, which we've seen that happen with Sporting Kansas City and some of their Swope Park Rangers players, the academy players. Here's Latif Blessing along the halfway line. Now Feilhaber with the outside of his foot. He's got so much touch with that type of pass. It's on for Sinovic. Sinovic rolling it across. Oh, Feilhaber left it for Zusi. Maybe Benny just didn't quite feel like he could catch up to that. And another opportunity for Sporting Kansas City where that one final ball is just maybe a foot or two off.
Exactly that, Nate, and it was the final ball from Setsanovic as well.
Here's Roger Espinoza, and he blasts it past the keeper, but just past his right-hand post.
A few of the fans below us thought that had rippled into the back of the net. It hadn't. It just hit the side netting. It's a decent strike from Roger Espinoza. It's going to be tough to beat a goalkeeper at the near post there. Should have gone across the goalkeeper. Didn't quite happen, but you've mentioned it a couple of times, Nate. It is that final ball that's not quite been working out for Sporting KC. And just before that Espinoza strike, it was the cross from Setsanovic. Was just in between Benny Feilhaber and Graham Zusi. It's neither one nor the other.
Coming up on halftime here in Tucson, Arizona, with Sporting Kansas City leading New York Red Bulls by a score of 1-0 on the penalty by Dom Dwyer. Elias Sanchez has gone down. He's grabbing both his face and his left knee. So hopefully nothing serious here for the new number 6 for Sporting Kansas City out of Barcelona, Spain. He is born and raised in Barcelona. I mean, he is Catalan. And if you talk to him about it, he's very proud of that.
And what he should also be proud of is the fact that he played for Barcelona B team for 6 seasons, from the age of 18 through to 24. That's no mean feat. Yes, I know it's not the Barcelona first team, but that B team has some fantastic players in it. And he's been schooled the Barcelona way, and you can see it. He always finds space there in the middle of the pitch.
Looks to be okay, does Elias Sanchez. Here's Feilhaber off the chest of Dwyer. Cleared away by Tim Schmoll. There's the halftime whistle. So at the break, Sporting Kansas City leading New York Red Bulls by a score of 1-0. It was Dom Dwyer in the 31st minute converting a penalty, which is the difference in the match so far. As we mentioned, Kerry Zavagnin is running the show for Sporting Kansas City from a managerial standpoint today, instead of Peter Vermees, who's been sitting up in the stands watching from above. And standing by now with Kerry Zavagnin is Jillian Carroll. Thank you, Jillian. Go ahead.
Thanks, Nate. Coach, what did you like about the first 45 minutes today?
Well, I think we figured out some of the things, certainly the problems that they were giving us in the beginning of the game with them playing a high line and really compacting the space in and around the ball. And I think we found good opportunities as the half went on, in and behind, and certainly the penalty kick that was awarded to us was because of our good recognition. So we had a few other opportunities where we exposed them in behind, and certainly if we can continue to do that, I think we'll be able to punish them a little bit more.
Absolutely. And the field conditions, did they affect us a lot today?
Not so much. I mean, it's a little bumpy, it's a little bit wet, but it's not really affecting the game in a negative way. Overall, it's been a well-played game and certainly a good test from New York.
Absolutely. Thank you for the time.
All right, thank you, Jillian. Sporting Kansas City with a 1-0 lead over the New York Red Bulls, who have brought their Red Bulls 2 teams, some academy players, some trialists here today, as their first team is back in New York City getting ready for their game against the Vancouver Whitecaps in the CONCACAF Champions League. Let's take a look back, Matt, at some of the highlights from the first half. And Kerry Zavagnin talked about it, getting in behind that Red Bulls team that was playing a high line quite a bit in the first half.
Yeah, quite often it has been down that left-hand side, as we saw that cross that just found Graham Zusi on the back post.
Benny Feilhaber had to track back after giving that one away and forced it out for a corner.
And this is that great through ball from Graham Zusi into Dom Dwyer. Couldn't quite find the back of the net. It's a good left-footed save from the goalkeeper.
Then off the penalty, he put it off the post and then into the net. That was the one goal of the first half. And then Zusi had an opportunity. Couldn't quite get his foot around it late in the first half.
And that last opportunity there was exactly what you were mentioning, Nate, earlier in our commentary, was that Sporting KC have to really take their chances. We mentioned maybe not so much today in a pre-season friendly, but when you get into the meat of the MLS season, Sporting KC have carved out a number of chances, and they do need to take them. Yes, it's 1-0. Yes, they look relatively solid at the back, but right now you would really want to put the pressure on the side if you're in the MLS season and be 2 or 3-0 up right now.
Sporting Kansas City 1, New York Red Bulls 0. That is the score at the break. We'll be back with the second half coming up from Tucson, Arizona at the Desert Diamond Cup.
We have our participant strike through there. You get Miller and Veronica Perkins. You are being called to center line for our halftime Autobahn Pacey competition. As an official sponsor of MLS Stations and Jack Nowell, would like to visit all of their activities in Congress. Thanks for the personality of the Mercedes fans. Good stuff for doing Jack Nowell has done it. Keep Jack and Willie sign up. Please send on the website at Tucson.com. That's Tucson.com. Put the whole over there. Helping you with all your mobile devices. Next Saturday the 25th, make sure to stop at Six Registrations for the opportunity to win a 50-inch television. Mayfield Forest is a proud supporter of our stations and Tucson and a proud partner of that Tucson. Even guys in our expectations this week, with Mayfield Flowers and Tucson. This is the promotion code that means Tucson at Mayfield Forest. Advantage with the mobile home their home ownership goes. Their brand with the mobile home loan. Celebrate the goal of your favorite team with team brand cup every time you push the board with the center. Looking for a place to down the drive, no cheaters. Autobahn number cheaters are like two American Cadillacs in the town of electric cars. Capable of speeds up to 50 miles per hour. Please check out their booth down the basement on the discount area. AutobahnSpeed.com for location and hours of information. That's the Autobahn Indoor Speedway. Make a decision at tickets from Ocean Teams and get the free review of the goal. Fans, remember there's a shop at SC2.com with all 64 women worldwide for all the latest SC2.com projects for the season. And remember the brand group at Mobile Home Loan Six. Raise your glass to the next MLS victory. And don't forget to keep your brand group 32-ounce short cup with you and bring it back anytime. That's the brand group. Okay, fans, the time has come to score on Soupy. On the field, we're going to have three contestants, Keith Esparza, Mia Valenzuela, and Stephen Powell, who will each try to score a goal on Soupy. If they score, they will receive a prize from Soupy himself. Soupy to the call for welcome to Delicious. Let's see if any of our contestants can score on Soupy. The goal is to hit the net or Soupy, either one. It would be just as entertaining if you hit Soupy as you do the net. Let's give all three of our contestants a big hand and Snoopy for taking that punishment.
Just about set for the second half here in Tucson, Arizona at the Desert Diamond Cup. Sporting Kansas City leading New York Red Bulls by a score of 1-0. The Red Bulls got a 2-0 victory over NYCFC in their first game. Sporting Kansas City got a 1-1 draw in their first game. The Red Bulls starting a bunch of USL players and academy players today, making a couple of substitutions here in the second half. Dwayne Muckett comes into the game out of Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago. Meanwhile, for Sporting Kansas City, they will start the exact same 11 who started the game. Napier Cady along with Matt Lawrence. Jillian Carroll is on the sideline. Also, Evan Leroux into the match for the Red Bulls as well. They will start in possession going from left to right, which means they will be going right into the teeth of this strong Arizona wind here today on what is an unseasonably cool and cloudy day. Doesn't seem like the rain has persisted as much as it was through the first match today, which was a match between the New England Revolution and the Colorado Rapids. Let's check in on the sideline with Jillian Carroll. Jillian, what did you learn at halftime from the Sporting Kansas City side of things?
Well, Coach Carey Zavagdan spoke about the New York Red Bull pulling their line up quite high. So when Ike Opara and Matt Beasler were winning the ball, their line was so high that we decided to, Sporting Kansas City dropped Ilie Sanchez back a little bit to then promote a over-the-top ball. So what we're looking to do here is having Dom Dwyer check and then looking for Latif Blessing and Jerso Fernando over the top, getting behind the defense. Dom Dwyer was set to come out at the 45-minute mark, however, asked to play on. So he did his job today, put one in the back of the net, and Sporting Kansas City has him back on the field. He will come out in the next 10 to 15 minutes tops.
Thank you, Jillian. So, yeah, we speculated, Matt, on whether or not Dom Dwyer would play more than the first 45 minutes since he only played a half an hour coming back from that foot injury. No surprise that Dom wanted to stay in the match, is it?
No, exactly. And we said that he would have some input in it as well. I'm sure Peter Vermees knew that Dom Dwyer would want to stay in. I'm sure Dom Dwyer also playing up against a second-string team. He just would like to get another goal or two under his belt, and I guess it's no real surprise that he'll go on and play the full hour, as the rest of this starting 11 for Sporting KC will do.
Handball whistled against Ike Opara, so a set piece for the Red Bulls coming up. But also, I get the sense that Dom Dwyer is just the type of guy, no matter what the circumstances are, if you give him the option of playing or sitting, he would rather be out on the field.
Yeah, and it would take an awfully bad injury for him to leave the field to play. He's just that type of character. Wants to be out there and he wants to be hitting the back of the net.
It's going to be Bezcourt to take this with the left foot. Tamilia had to retreat back to his line, but able to snag it out of the air and looking to play it quickly for Latif Blessing. And boy, is he chopped down, and we might see a card flashing here, as it looked like Latif Blessing had beaten David Najem for pace. Najem put his shoulder into Blessing, and Blessing earns the foul.
Yeah, and exactly as Gillian was saying as well, getting the ball from back to front as quickly as possible. It's a great clearance from Tim Melia. Picked out Latif Blessing, and it was just a really poor challenge, as we're seeing here. Just a really clumsy, cynical foul from David Njemi. Knew he wasn't going to be able to keep up with Latif Blessing. Almost a good professional foul in the end. Just took one for the team.
Is that not a last man scenario there?
He's certainly the last man. I just think the referee couldn't say for definite that it was a goal scoring opportunity. He was certainly last man.
Well, here comes a set piece for Feilhaber. He drives it in low, but right into the arms of Rafael Diaz.
He's allowed a bad one, Benny Feilhaber, against Colorado, and so far in this game he's put in excellent set pieces. That one was poor, straight into the arms of a watching New York Red Bulls goalkeeper. Evan
LaRoe, that's playing in keeper here in the second half.
Yeah, he's come in for Laurel Diaz. No surprise, I'm sure we're going to see a number of substitutions in this second half from New York Red Bulls.
This is Dwayne Muckett. Blessing takes it back though. Running toward the 18. Plays it for Dwyer. It's Dwyer! Well, LaRoe makes a save. It was right into his belly, but more good action from Latif Blessing. He continues to show himself well here down in Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah, and extremely unselfish from Latif Blessing as well. Picks out Dom Dwyer very well. It's a great first touch from Dom. Good strike on target as well, but an excellent save from the Red Bulls goalkeeper LaRoe.
Sinovic is dispossessed. They try to tug at Bezcourt, who stands up strong to it, so play on, says the referee. It was intended for Lewis, but Tim Melia sprang on it and plays it out for a throw-in.
I don't mind that from Tim Melia.
We might have a yellow. Well, the referee's not going to give one, but John Wolniak, the man who's serving as the head coach for the Red Bulls today, wants to know why, after play stop, Seth Sinovic wasn't shown a yellow card for the tug at the back of the Red Bulls player at the other end of the field. Here's Blessing. Knocked away nicely by Endom. Good work from Michael Parra. Back in by Endom. And it falls to Lewis. Lewis couldn't quite get any mustard behind it.
Yeah, it's a simple gather for Tim Melia. He had a decent sight on goal as well, did Zico Lewis. It's a very weak left-footed strike on goal.
Sinovic.
I suppose it should be expected. Red Bulls are finding it difficult to gel as a team. They've made a couple of changes at half-time. They've got 2 or 3 trialists out there, number of academy players and Red Bull second-team players. Up against a first-string Sporting KC side. It's a real test for them this afternoon.
What have you thought of the 2 young center backs? We talked about their size, 6'4" and 6'6" for the Red Bulls, but also just 18 years old and 23 years old respectively.
Yeah, it's tough to play centre-half at such a young age. It's normally all about experience, 2 centre-halves.
Zusi lets it rip from long range. Out for a goal kick.
Nothing wrong with having a strike from there from Graham Zusi. He's got the wind as well. Would like to have hit the target, went a number of yards wide. But going back to those centre-halves, yeah, it's tough. And it's a tough afternoon when you're up against Dom Dwyer, one of the leading centre-forwards in the MLS. They certainly won't be coming up against Dom every week, that's for sure. I think they've done a reasonable job, though. Neither of them are massively mobile. I'd like to see Latif Blessing and Gerso Fernandez cutting in and having a real go one-on-one at the 2 centre-halves. Yes, they're good aerially, but on the floor, not so good.
Blessing flicks it on, but it's out for a Red Bulls throw-in. Talking to some of the Sporting Kansas City players about the culture shock that it must be for Latif Blessing, kid who's never been outside of Africa in his life. Brought over at just 19 years old And they said even the process of ordering food at a Chipotle has been a mystery to Blessing so far, let alone learning the language, learning the culture of a professional soccer team in the United States. But boy, once he gets out on the field, he just looks like he's at home.
First world problems right there, Nate. Not knowing what to order at Chipotle. But yeah.
Too many toppings.
Exactly. I find it amazing that he's gelled so well. As you say, hadn't set foot outside of Africa. He's only been here for a few weeks. But it looks like he's been here for a number of seasons, and it's great to see. It bodes very, very well for the season proper in 2 weeks' time. I'm with you, though. The one worry is the physicality of the league and whether he can survive a full 34-game season and hopefully a number of playoff games as well.
Well, we know he can survive the climate. You know, sometimes you hear from players from Europe talking about how hot it can be in the United States, particularly in the Midwest during the summer months. But the one thing I asked him about Ghana, he just looked at me and said, very hot, very hot. So he's used to that part of it.
Oh yes, he certainly is. And as you say, once you get out on that football pitch as well, it's the international language almost, isn't it? It's the things off the pitch as well, though, that must be so difficult for him. But he's certainly taken it in his stride. I think that innocence of youth almost helps as well. At 19 years old, almost doesn't recognise what a big culture shock it is for himself, and he's just getting on with his job. And as you say, even just the fact that when you see him chopped down, when you see him taking those physical knocks, he just jumps straight back up. He's got a great attitude.
Well, according to some of his teammates, basically showed up to Sporting Kansas City with hardly any earthly possessions. They literally had to take him out clothes shopping when he got to the United States. Another offside ruling against the Red Bulls here.
And as we see, not big in stature either. 5'6", 5'7", doesn't weigh a great deal, but boy has he got a big heart.
We've seen some of the best players in the entire world, in the history of the world, that don't stand much taller than that, though. So,
exactly. Your Messis of this world, your Neymars, Diego Maradona, going back a little bit further.
Here's Feilhaber. Red Bulls maintaining a bit of a high line here. Sinovic's asking for it over here on the near side, right near the halfway line. He's got both hands above his head. Sporting give it away on the opposite side of the field, and now Sinovic's going to have to book it to get back, but the Red Bulls give it away. Amelia sends it down the field looking for Blessing again.
I know it's not what Peter Vermees wants, those long punts upfield, but every now and again it's been on for Tim Melia to hit those 50, 60-yard diagonal balls out of his hands towards Latif Blessing.
Well, that's the second time that Ethan Cutler, if my memory is correct, has made contact with the face of Latif Blessing in some way. That time just kind of put his arms around his face and took him to the ground. Remember, it was Blessing who had the cut lip and a bloody jersey because of it in the first half.
Yeah, but again, we see he just bounces straight back up. Don't want to over-egg the point too much, but he's got a big heart, Latif Blessing. He doesn't mind taking those knocks. But yeah, I get your point, Nate. He has to be careful, Ethan Cutler. He can't be far away from totting up enough fouls to go into the referee's notebook.
Roger was looking for the overlapping run of Seth Sinovic that time, but taken back by Bezcourt of the Red Bulls. Beasley just ran right through Velo, and now Elias Sanchez is going to go in the book. I was about to make a comment that Beasler wants to be careful because he's already on a yellow. Maybe Sanchez with a veteran move to distract the point away from Soren Stoica and put the attention more on himself. Beasler's being called over by Stoica here.
Certainly looks as though Beasler's got into the notebook as well as as Ilie Sanchez. Sanchez went into the notebook for kicking the ball away. Beasler for the late challenge.
Well, Beasler was already on a yellow in the 38th minute of the first half, so I think Stoica just gave him a talking to this time.
But still
maybe the word might have been, had this been a regular season match, you'd be seeing a second yellow.
Yeah, and that would be a point as well, because I think that was a yellow card offence.
Let's go down to Jillian Carroll once again.
Sporting Kansas City's second team has come back from the locker room, and we are going to literally see at the 60-minute mark a full line shift here. So we are expecting to see 11 new faces hit the pitch. Carey Zavagnin is going to expect the line to stay high and again look for the ball over the top on the attack.
Thank you, Jillian. As we approach 1 hour of soccer here in Tucson. Ball through that was played for Najem. He tried to chest it down. Gerso Fernandez comes away with it for Sporting. Working his way through a couple of Red Bulls, then taken down with the foul.
Yeah, Gerso Fernandez was quite lucky there that Najem's first touch wasn't great, because Najem had got in behind Gerso Fernandez. He just switched off for a second, had Gerso Fernandez. Got a bit lucky with that poor first touch from Najem that just allowed him to get back and take the ball off him.
Graham Zusi will be called for the foul here. Looked like he had a hold of Zico Lewis. And to go back to the non-yellow card from Matt Beasler there, I think it's good officiating from Soren Stoica in a preseason friendly. We're a couple of minutes away from seeing both sides swapped out. These teams are down here in the preseason trying to work on things, and that really would have diminished Sporting Kansas City's ability to get good work out of their second 11 if they had to go out there with only 10 men instead of 11. And maybe that was the point that Soren Stoica was making.
That's a valid point, Nate. It wouldn't have helped New York Red Bulls either. Their team wants to play 11 versus 11.
All clipped in. It's cleared away by Beasler. And now Latif Blessing is fouled by Dwayne Maquette.
Shows that he's on his mettle, Latif Blessing, even in defensive situations. Did very well there to draw the foul on the edge of the box.
And here comes the line change as described by Jillian Carroll. Let's try to give you all 11 that will be coming in for Sporting Kansas City. The goalkeeper is going to be Adrian Zendejas. The defenders from left to right will be Tyler Pasher, Amir Jidic, Kevin Ellis, and this time Saad Abdul Salam instead of Igor Juliao. Juliao played at right back in the second half for Sporting against the Colorado Rapids, but this time it's going to be Saad Abdul Salam playing that right back spot. Sony Mustavar will be the holding midfielder now. Benji Hoya and Jimmy Madronda will be playing centrally for Sporting Kansas City. Madronda will be replacing Benny Feilhaber as the number 10, and Hoya will be replacing Roger Espinoza as the box-to-box midfielder. On the left wing, Daniel Shallowy. On the right wing, Christian Valeski. And now playing up top will be Suni Saad for Sporting Kansas City. This side basically played the second 45 minutes against the Colorado Rapids on Wednesday. They scored the lone goal of the match for Sporting Kansas City. Tyler Pasher with a nice pass to Amir Jidic, his fellow Swope Park Rangers teammate from last year, and Amir Jidic put it away with the header. So those two are back out on the field here today, and they'll get the final 30 minutes of this one.
Wouldn't they like a little repeat of that as well, for a little bit of retribution for that final, the 5-1 defeat they suffered at the hands of this Red Bulls second team last season when they were playing obviously for Swope Park Rangers.
Yeah, maybe a little revenge on their minds for that amazing run that Swope Park Rangers had all the way to the final last year. Here's Daniel Shallowy chesting it down, playing it on for the running Jimmy Madronda. He gets it out to Pasher. Pasher tries to serve the cross in. He was already in an offside position anyway. And the cross went out, would have been a goal kick. Instead, it'll be a free kick.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there, Tyler Pasher. He's only just come onto the field of play, but he's looking all the way along the line. Shouldn't stray offside in that situation. But he did, and I'm sure he's pretty glad he was offside as his cross was poor and went behind the goal.
Checking on Twitter, one of our good friends, Chad Reynolds, points out to me after I made the comment about Latif Blessing struggling with the concept of ordering food from Chipotle. My partner Matty Lawrence might have had some similar issues. We ordered some Chipotle after a photo shoot, I believe it was Tuesday night, and we had to talk you through that process.
Exactly. I hadn't set foot outside Europe either. That's a problem. Chipotle's all new to me. I can fully say I've mastered it now, though.
So no Chipotles in jolly old England?
I think there are, actually. I just haven't been.
And your thoughts?
I quite like it. The trouble is, in my time down here in Arizona, I think I've put on about 15 pounds. I need to get in the gym when I get home.
We have made more than one stop at the Chipotle, haven't we, since we've been down here?
We are regulars.
There's Jimmy Madronda chesting it down, flicking it on for Shallowy. Busting it to get there before it reaches the end line, and it just crosses over. Shallowy cannot keep it in. That was a nice little touch, though, from Jimmy Madronda. And we've liked what we've seen from him in that number 10 role in training this week.
Yeah, I think he enjoys playing there, I really do. He also knows he's got a fight on his hands getting into the starting 11. At the moment, he's obviously not first choice. I think he knows he has to up his game. And certainly what we saw against Colorado Rapids, what we've seen also in training this week as well, is really up for that fight. That can only help Sporting Kansas City this season.
And now Madronda playing Shallowy through. Here's Shallowy with the left foot. That's not his favored foot. And he puts it right in to the gloves of Evan LaRoe, the goalkeeper for the Red Bulls.
It's very unlike him, though. Daniel Shalwy's normally got a really good end product, whether it be crossing or finishing. It's a poor strike, comfortable save into the arms of Evan LaRoe.
Even though Shallowy is playing on the left-hand side, he prefers to get to that right foot, and we've seen him with some real pace on the ball when he does so.
There's the turn and strike he had against Colorado Rapids when he came on Wednesday, when he turned, swiveled and hit a vicious shot just about a yard over the crossbar. Again, another player not massive in stature. He's got real power behind that shot. He's got a really sweet strike.
Free kick for Sporting Kansas City in the 66th minute. Speaking of powerful strikes, Suni Saad is widely regarded to have the strongest leg on the Sporting Kansas City side. He lets it rip. Not quite enough dip on this one.
Yeah, he got it over the wall, just couldn't quite get it down the other side. Has the wind with him as well. Have to be testing the goalkeeper, I feel, in that situation. You have to hit the target.
Suni Saad signing back with Sporting Kansas City at the very end of January after spending the last 2 seasons playing professionally in Thailand.
I think Peter Vermees has gone on record as well to say that Suni Saad has matured, certainly in terms of a player, but also as a man, as a human being off the pitch as well. I think he's going to be an integral part of this squad this season.
It's Tyler Pasher trying to slide it through. One correction on the 11 that came on for Sporting Kansas City. I said Christian Valesky was playing on the right wing. It turns out that it's actually Cameron Porter who was in this 11 for Sporting Kansas City instead of Valesky.
The wind just feels as though it's picking up a bit here as well at Keno North Stadium, just making it very tricky for the players, for the brand new starting 11 that's come onto the pitch for Sporting KC. It's going to take them a little while to get adjusted to the conditions. I like the fact that you see the Sporting KC, this second 11, if you want to call it that, playing exactly the same way as the first starting 11. I know that's the ethos that Peter Vermees wants going throughout, obviously, the men's team, but also the academy system as well. I think it's an absolute must that all teams play the same way, so that when you do make those steps up, you know it's much easier to adjust.
Hoya loses out. Amir Djidic was able to break up the play, though. Now Jimmy Madronda with it for Sporting Kansas City, looking for Cameron Porter. Got his head to it, tried to flick it on for Suni Saad. The offside flag raised against Porter.
I'm trying to work out whether the offside was against Porter or Suni Saad. I thought Porter was onside then when he flicked it on, but maybe Suni Saad was a yard offside, but then he wasn't interfering with play because he didn't make any contact with the ball. But once again, as Gillian brought up, at times Sporting KC are trying to go from back to front quite quickly. Red Bulls are holding a very, very high line. There's a great amount of space in behind that back four.
A nice turn by Kevin Ellis to set things in direction, and now the flag comes up on Porter again.
And once again, I said it before about Tyler Pasha. Cameron Porter's looking all the way across the line. There's no need to be offside there. Just maybe a little lack of experience.
Sliding challenge from Madronda to poke it away, but still the Red Bulls with it until they lose it out for a throw-in. The wind still blowing strongly from right to left as we look at the field at Keno North, which means it's to the back of the Sporting Kansas City side this half. It has been a factor in both of the matches that these two teams have played in so far in Arizona. And ironically, it hasn't been exactly this windy every day, just apparently on match day.
It has.
Here.
It's only been on match day, hasn't it? The couple of times we've been down here for training, it's been completely still. As I said, it's the one condition that footballers don't like playing in, these windy conditions. Just makes it imperative that you keep the ball on the floor. And obviously this pitch is taking a bit of a beating as well. It's having so many games on it, and one after the other. There's no way that the groundsman can get on the field and tend the pitch in between games. It's starting to look a little patchy, the pitch, slightly bobbly.
Shallowy tries to send it on the right-hand side to Porter. Porter's able to track it down and win it back. Trying to work his way through a couple of defenders. Still Porter. And it's out for a Sporting Kansas City corner.
He's done well there, Cameron Porter. He's kept at it and won the corner off the deflection of Tim Schmoll. Third corner of the game to Sporting KC. This is where they scored the goal from against Colorado Rapids on Wednesday from a set piece. Jidic, as we know, attacks the ball very, very well.
In by Jimmy Madronda, punched away by Leroux. Falls to Saad, he loses it, and that will give the Red Bulls a chance to break away the other way. Bezcourt on the halfway line, deflects off of Saad to the other Saad. Suni Saad to Saad Abdul Salam, that is. Here is Abdul Salam. Now Porter. Madronda. Tyler Pasher giving it chase, but wasn't going to be able to get there.
That's the point we were making as well. The minute the ball goes up in the air, you're at the mercy of the wind. It's just a pretty simple 30-yard crossfield ball from Jimmy Madronda. In the end, it turned out to be a pull ball. Wind got hold of it, took it out of play. Possession back to New York Red Bulls.
Sony Mustafar. Pasher loses out here. It's Cutler steaming down the right-hand side. Jidic able to break it up.
It's great covering defending from Amir Jidic. Kept a close watch on Brandon Allen. Just took the ball off him.
Shallowy just misplayed that one into a Red Bulls throw. And gonna have another couple of substitutions for the Red Bulls now. As again, their first team is back in New York City getting ready for Champions League play. And I'll be perfectly honest, we have two players coming in who do not appear on the Red Bulls roster that we have. David Abidor is coming into the game. Zach Ryan is going to be wearing the number 19. We've got him down as number 14 on this program. This is preseason soccer, ladies and gentlemen. And particularly preseason when your first team is getting ready for Champions League play. Becomes even more of a guessing game sometimes.
That's the thing, and it's not just the first 11 either, is it? It's the whole squad. 18 to 20 of them are already back in New York, preparing for that game against Vancouver Whitecaps this coming Wednesday.
And understandably so. This is one of the challenges for CONCACAF Champions League play for the MLS side of things, which is you get into the knockout phase of the competition, and your team's not in mid-season form yet. They're still in preseason form, and so different teams trying to handle it different ways. We saw Montreal train in Mexico for weeks leading up to it last year, and
I think that's why we've seen New York Red Bulls are a week or two ahead of most of the other MLS teams. They've played 4 games in pre-season, won every one of them, kept clean sheets in every game. I think it's blatantly apparent that they are just that week or two ahead. They need to hit the ground running against Vancouver. I saw an interview with Jesse Marsh, or I read an interview with Jesse Marsh, saying that he considers this already one of the most important games of the MLS season, the 2 legs against Vancouver Whitecaps, and rightly so. And why wouldn't you prepare right for it? We saw their first team playing against NYCFC just a few days ago on Wednesday. Granted, NYCFC had a number of trialists playing, but Red Bulls just looked physically much fitter and much more at the races, as they have to be. KC and the likes of NYCFC obviously have got a whole 2 weeks now until their first real competitive fixture.
Valo down the right-hand side serves the cross with too much on it. It's out for a Sporting Kansas City throw in here in the 76th minute. Sporting Kansas City leading by a score of 1-0 over the Red Bulls. The goal coming from Dom Dwyer in the 31st minute as he converted a penalty that he himself had earned.
I think he looks pretty sharp as well, Dom Dwyer. Played a full hour here. We were only expecting him to play 45 minutes. Shown that he's just fully recovered from that operation he had in the off-season.
Here's Soony Saad right on the 18 on his right foot. It was broken up.
It's David Abidor, I think, who got his left foot in the way of that. Deflected it behind for the 4th corner of the game to Sporting KC. I would like to have Soony Saad there just to take on David Abidor. Didn't look as though he had the confidence to go past him.
Corner in from Madronda, ushered on by Dwayne Moquette. And it'll be another corner for Sporting Kansas City.
Yeah, that's a dangerous delivery from Jimmy Madronda. He's with the wind as well. Makes it vicious, in-swinging, whipping left-footed corner. Awfully hard to defend against. So Soony Saad will take the ball, or the corner on this opposite side.
Just over the head of Shallowy. It's out for another Sporting Kansas City corner as the keeper Leroux had a difficult time holding on to that one.
Yeah, and they're doing the right thing, Sporting KC. Whipping in-swinging corners with the wind, making it very difficult for the goalkeeper to judge the flight of the ball.
Benji Hoya was steaming toward that back post, but it was ushered out for another corner kick by Tim Schmoll.
He did well, Tim Schmoll. Arched his neck at that back post, just backheaded it behind once again for the 3rd corner on the trot for Sporting KC.
Back in by Madronda. Bouncing in the area. Hoya takes a deflection. Hoya again. With Schmoll chasing him out toward the near touchline. And he loses it out for a throw-in.
Well watched by Tim Schmoll there. He's got good feet, Benji Hoyer. He watched the ball, Tim Schmoll, and won himself and his side. Red Bulls the throw-in.
Some clever work from Basulovic, but in the end it's taken back by Saad Abdul Salam, and here comes Hoya. Looking for Suni Saad. And it's banged off the crossbar by Shallowy. Saad now taken down in the area. Referee saw nothing wrong with it. But boy, we've seen a couple of strikes from Daniel Shallowy that have not been far off from sneaking under that crossbar.
And that one certainly wasn't far off. I think he'd want to finish this though. He'd want to hit the back of the net. Just leant back slightly, saw the ball ricochet off the underside of the crossbar. I'd like to have another look at that Suni Saad challenge as well, or the challenge on Suni Saad. It looks as though he got taken down from behind. Suni Saad himself was calling for the video referee.
And I believe that could earn you a yellow card in the regular
so.
season once that comes in. That's supposed to be a no-no.
I would imagine that would be considered ungentlemanly conduct.
Players and coaches are not allowed to call for replays. Only the replay official himself can do so. And it is communicated to us that the video replay official is monitoring every play that happens through the course and plays that are eligible for review. We're into the 80th minute now. We'll check in with Jillian Carroll in just a moment, who's trying to stay warm on the sidelines, which isn't something you say very often in the Tucson, Arizona area. Jidic now sending it long, and Dan Shallowy giving chase but can't get there. Let's go down to Jillian.
That's right. I'm trying to stay warm out here, but I'm just definitely listening to Coach Kerry Zavagdan right now. As soon as Suni went down in the box, the whole bench hopped up off the bench saying, "You got to call that. This game has been perfect until right then." So Sporting Kansas City felt that was a call that was missed. Kerry Zavagdan was speaking at length with the official on the sideline. It did seem that the official convinced Coach Zavagdan that we did not have a call and no need for a replay. Sporting Kansas City seems calm now, but definitely disagreed with that call.
Thank you, Jillian. 81st minute now. Suni Saad for Sporting Kansas City. 1-2 with Benji Hoya. Mustavar playing it down the left-hand side for Shallowy. Gets it onto that right foot. Now Madronda leaves it for Porter. Porter bangs it in from a difficult angle. Sporting Kansas City 2. New York Red Bulls 0. It's Cameron Porter in the 82nd minute.
And that's a wonderful finish from Cameron Porter. A really tight angle there, but he's absolutely lashed it into the back of the net. Nothing the goalkeeper can do in the Red Bulls sticks there. It's a great dummy as well from Sonny Mustavar. And look at that finish, straight into the top corner, finished with aplomb by Cameron Porter.
Jimmy Madronda made the decision to let that ball run through, Matt. I thought that it was going to be too tight of an angle for Cameron Porter, but he put so much pace on it that Evan LaRue, the goalkeeper, had no time to react.
Yeah, you certainly, as a goalkeeper, you wouldn't want to be beaten from that angle, but I agree with you. The pace on the ball and also just that direction into the top corner made it very, very difficult.
So Sporting Kansas City, a goal from Dom Dwyer in the first half, now a goal from Cameron Porter in the second, and they lead the Red Bulls by a score of 2-0. And we've got another substitution for the Red Bulls. This is Lucas Batista, a 22-year-old trialist from Brazil who's come into the game. We mentioned it, a lot of academy players, a lot of trialists in this game for the Red Bulls, and Batista, another one of those. Also, Bradley Nestor into the game. He's wearing the number 20 for the Red Bulls, and going in at that right wing position.
The number of changes they've made, New York Red Bulls, and the number of trialists they've got on the pitch is going to make it awfully difficult for the team to gel, if not impossible, especially against this very well drilled Sporting KC second 11.
And for the most part, this second 11 for Sporting Kansas City have had a chance to train together as a unit.
Exactly, and in a formation that they're all very comfortable with as well. One that's been well drilled into them by head coach Peter Vermees.
Here's Jimmy Madronda. He's looking for Saad, who just was leaning in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I think the pass was almost too good from Jimmy Madronda. A lovely little reverse ball into the box. Suni Saad wasn't quite on the same wavelength. As you said it though, Jimmy Madronda is thriving, Nate, in this new position of his, playing almost as a number 10. I said it earlier, it can only be beneficial for the Sporting KC squad to have those extra players, it's not only the starting 11, it's the 12 to 18 as well, or the 12 to 20. It's all well and good having a good starting 11. You need those substitutes, you need a fully loaded squad as well.
Cameron Porter call for the foul on Lucas Batista.
I think it's the one thing that Peter Vermees has added. He's added quality to the squad. Yes, it's 2 or 3 players who inevitably are going to be in that starting lineup in the first game of the season away at DC United, but that has just increased, you know, the potential and the talent on the bench as well. Not only on the bench, but also some of the players will be sitting in the stand as well on that first day of the season.
Well, we've seen it time and time again through a 34-game schedule plus U.S. Open Cup and other competitions.
And the travelling as well. Yes. It's not just the games. Obviously the geography of the US and the travelling from east to west does take its toll. I think that this Sporting KC squad is better suited to competing for all 34 weeks this season than it was last.
And they'll also need it because they figured to lose a handful of players potentially for times during international stretches, both on the U.S. men's national team, players like Roger Espinoza on the Honduran national team. Sporting Kansas City have earned another corner here in the 86th minute.
Yeah, certainly statistically Sporting KC have been much the better side this afternoon. 8 corners to 2. I'd say something like 65% possession to 35. In terms of the statistics that matter as well, 2 goals to 0. I think it's been a decent workout for Sporting KC this afternoon.
Jimmy Madronda drives it in low this time. He goes off of Batista, and it's headed into the back of the net by Daniel Shalhoui.
And that's something that we won't be saying too often this season, I would imagine. A header on target and into the back of the net from Daniel Shalhoui. The goalkeeper and a couple of Red Bulls defenders are claiming that Evan LaRue was fouled in that 6-yard box. I don't think there's a great deal in it. I think the goalkeeper's got to be stronger. We'll take another look at it here. There's nothing in that for me. Suni Saad has challenged with Evan LaRue. The goalkeeper's got to be stronger though. It's a poor punch from Evan LaRue. I think the referee's perfectly within his rights there not to award a free kick. We know that goalkeepers nowadays are very well protected. There's very little contact between Suni Saad and the Red Bulls goalkeeper, Evan LaRue there. And that could be the icing on the cake for Sporting KC, a 3rd goal. We still have 3 minutes left of normal time, plus a few additional minutes for all the substitutes we've had.
Clever touch from Saad Abdul Salam, but then the poor pass to Sony Mustavar, and it's taken back by the Red Bulls, who'd like to get something out of this going forward. Tyler Pasher wins it back.
So one thing he's got on his side, Tyler Pasher, is pace. Even if he's in the wrong position, his pace gets him back into the right position at times, as we saw there.
Sony Saad couldn't get on the end of this one. Going back to the goal, I think you're right. Evan LaRue will be told, if he doesn't already feel so, that he needs to be a little stronger in commanding his area.
Of course, he's got his hands to use as well. You know, we often see goalkeepers come out with their knees high as well to protect themselves. He didn't command his 6-yard box with any authority there whatsoever. I think it was the correct call from the referee, or the correct non-call in from Red Bull's point of view.
It's Pasher getting forward. Now Shallowy. He is taken down, and a foul will be awarded in favor of Sporting Kansas City just outside of the penalty area. Being told there will be 1 minute of stoppage time added at the end of this one as Sporting Kansas City lead it 3-0. And a match that has gone maybe as you would have predicted, considering the sides that both teams put forth.
Certainly it's the result you would have expected, but you've still got to beat that team that's put out there in front of you. I guess we've already seen in the FA Cup earlier on today that you know, shock results do happen against lesser opposition.
Sunisad trying to bend it toward that far post, and he bangs it right off the post. Boy, not far from hitting the upper 90.
I think he just took a bit off that as well, Sunisad. Didn't fully strike through the ball. It's a lovely curling strike though. Nothing Evan Leroux could do about that one.
Sunisad was not far from getting his name on the score sheet there.
Again, we've said about it, another wonderful acquisition to the Sporting KC squad, Sunisad, bringing him back from Thailand. A better player and a better all-round person.
Boya flicking it on for Shallowy. Shallowy unselfishly was looking for Porter. It's knocked out for a corner. Let's take another look at that free kick attempt by Sunisad.
I'd like to say that was wonderful judgment from Evan Leroux in the Red Bulls goal there, but I'm not so sure. It's a great strike from Sunisad.
Saad's going to take the corner this time. Bouncing right on the 6, it's Porter, and it took another deflection out for a corner.
10th corner of the game to Sporting KC. Just, I think, highlighting their dominance this afternoon. As you said, Nate, as we would expect. But I think Peter Vermees will be very happy with the way both of his teams have played this afternoon.
Jimmy Madronda with the corner now. In stoppage time, it's headed away by Schmoll. Now Tyler Pasher. Chipping it in. And it falls out to Porter. Batista shouldering Porter right to the ground. This could be the last action of the match here as the Red Bulls try to counter. Benji Hoya is able to break it up, and he wins the throw-in for Sporting Kansas City. And there is the final whistle. "3-0 the final score in favor of Sporting Kansas City. They go to 1-0-1. Through their first 2 games here at the Desert Diamond Cup. Meanwhile, the New York Red Bulls drop to 1-1-0 in the Desert Diamond Cup. Goals for Sporting Kansas City coming from Dom Dwyer on a penalty, Cameron Porter in the 82nd minute, and then Daniel Shallowy putting it away in the 87th minute. So, Matt, your thoughts for Sporting Kansas City here today? Mission accomplished?
Mission accomplished. Certainly a good workout in terms of fitness, really, and just gelling together as a team, bringing those new players, into that starting 11. It's good to see once again Gerso Fernandez, Latif Blessing, Ilie Sanchez really having a positive effect on the game, a positive effect on this starting 11. And then I'd like to, a big shout out to this second 11 as well, who are very much on their mettle for the half an hour they played. 2 goals that they scored for this second portion, this second team. And as I said a couple of times, it really shows how strong this squad is going to be this season.
So we'll take a look back at the goals from this match. That was Dom Dwyer in the first half in the 31st minute. Then Daniel Shallowy let through by Sony Mustavar and on to Cameron Porter, who put it away. Then on the corner, opportunistic from Daniel Shallowy.
Yeah, it's a good finish from Shallowy in the right place at the right time. I think those last 2 goals, I don't think the Red Bulls goalkeeper, Evan Leroux, really bathed himself in glory there. I don't think he could get beaten at the near post there. Yes, the strike from Cameron Porter for the second goal was very well struck. I think if he stands up big and tall, the ball just hits him in the shoulder. And certainly for that third goal there from Daniel Shallowy, he has to be more commanding in the 6-yard box. Has to take authority, has to come out and either claim the ball or just punch it away and clear it. But, you know, in Sporting KC's point of view, it's a wonderful workout for all 22 players today.
All right, for Matt Lawrence and for Jillian Carroll and for Dakota and the entire crew here in Tucson, Arizona, this is Nate Bucati bringing it in for a landing as Sporting Kansas City win it 3-0 over the New York Red Bulls at the Desert Diamond Cup.